Here's the attorney for Officer Betty Shelby, Scott Wood, and he's going to obviously, in representing his client, give their side of the story.
This morning, Janet, thank you. Scott Wood is the attorney for Officer Betty Shelby. Scott, thank you for your time this morning.
You're welcome, Craig. Thank you for having me.
The video now seen by millions, it looks pretty damning. He clearly had his hands up in the video. Why did Officer Shelby shoot?
You know, one thing that's important is to understand what happened before any video started being taken by either the police helicopter or the other arriving police cars. No.
See, and that's the damning part about it, because if she was on her way to another crime scene, she should have had her lights on. If she had her lights on, she should have had her dash cam going. There are countless videos that you see where police in their vehicles, you get the dash cam footage of them on their way to wherever they're going. And according to police that I know, as soon as your lights are activated, your dash cam is also activated. Her lights were activated. I've done videos on it, and you could see as the second car pulls up that her lights have been activated. So her not having any dash cam video is more than suspicious.
Officer Shelby's on her way to a call when she sees this car in the middle of the road.
Okay, he said it right there. She was on her way to a call, so her lights should have been activated. Also, she claims that she saw this guy walking down the side of the road. Look at the proximity of her police car to Mr. Crutcher's vehicle. If he was walking down the side of the road, okay, and I'm going to assume that West is going to be on the right side of the video, because that's where he is walking from when you first see the video. And there was a 2-minute interaction. How far down the side of the road could this guy have been walking that she stops her vehicle all the way up there, walks back to wherever he is instead of driving her car back there? Okay, it's not making sense. The part that makes sense is he was standing off on the side of the road when she approached and pulled up, and then he came from the side of the road. Okay, so he wasn't walking down the side of the road.
And stops to help. She's going to find out if someone's broken down, if there's been a problem. And within that next minute to a minute and a half, this thing escalates by Mr. Crutcher refusing to follow any of her commands, refusing to communicate with her in any way.
Okay, now there's my next question. This guy has not committed a crime. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's basically just there. Why is she commanding him to do anything? Okay, why is she commanding him to do anything? He's not a criminal. Okay, actually, he's a victim. His car has broken down at that point. He's looking for help. You don't command people that are looking for help. You help them.
And it elevated up and led up to the shooting there at the side of the car.
But why did she shoot him? What was it that led her to shoot him?
And when she first encountered Mr. Crutcher, he was walking along the north side of the roadway headed west, and she thought maybe he was the driver of the car and said, "Sir, is this your car? Come talk to me. We need to get it moved." He kind of mumbled something. It's the only time he said anything verbally during the entire ordeal. Over the next minute and a half, he periodically puts his hands up and then will put his hand back down by his left pant pocket at least 4 or 5 times. During that time period, she became increasingly concerned that he had possibly a weapon in that pocket. She ordered him to get on the ground, and he refused to do that. That's about the time she got her gun out and also radioed in and said, "Hold traffic. I've got someone here who won't follow commands."
Okay, I don't know about you, but that's not washing for me. Yeah, especially that periodically putting your hands up, putting your hands down. All right, because in the entire video that we saw, that guy maintained his hands up. So even if she's going to try to blow smoke up our ass by telling us that he was putting his hands up and down and patting his pocket, we all know that that's bullshit, all right? Because what was he patting his pocket for? Okay, since he had no gun there. So first, she's saying that he potentially has a gun, okay, on his person. Then we get a story about, he reached through the window to get a gun out of the car. We find out that the window's up. Now we got another story, that she didn't know that she had a gun pointed on him, that it was a taser. Okay, so we're getting... And then you want to throw in the drugs, because they always got to throw in the drugs. So we're getting so many goddamn stories here from the police and from the attorneys. We don't know what the hell is going on other than what we see here. And what we see there is a man walking with his hands in the air, with his back to police, to her and to 2 to 3 other officers that arrive on the scene. Okay, all of them have weapons pointed at this guy. He goes to the car, the windows are up, okay, his hand could have, and probably did, come down to open the car. Now, we don't know if she gave him a command to go to the car to get his license or anything else. It's just her word against a dead person's word as to what happened before that second car rolled up with the video. I'm not buying it. I am just not buying it.
There was no gun found on Crutcher. There was no gun found at the scene in the vehicle. How do you explain that?
Well, Mr. Crutcher's behavior led her to believe that he could possibly have a weapon. If you ask any police officer, someone who's carrying a gun in civilian clothes usually will constantly touch it or check it, especially in an encounter with law enforcement.
That is so much bullshit. I mean, you could give me a break.
In this case, she could tell he was under the influence of something pretty strong.
Based on what, Scott? She could tell. Did she see drugs on him? What made her think that he was on something?
Yeah, she is a drug recognition expert, has been for about 2 years. I think she got her training back in 2014. It's about a 5 or 6 week course for police officers to take. Most of us.
And that makes her an expert? Okay, it was my understanding that she had recently completed the class, so based on what he's saying, she completed the class 2 years ago. A 5 or 6 week course does not make you a drug recognition expert, okay?
I've never seen anyone on PCP, but that is not an uncommon occurrence in certain parts of the country or in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to see someone under the influence of PCP.
Well, if it's not an uncommon occurrence, how come you've never seen anybody under the influence of PCP? And I'm willing to bet you, if you go back to her records, she's never seen anybody under the influence of PCP either.
Mr. Shelby, in the matter of seconds that she was able to interact with Mr. Crutchfield, deduced that he was definitely on PCP and had a weapon.
She believed he could have a weapon in the pocket. She was pretty sure about being on PCP. She spent over 2 minutes trying to get him to comply and follow orders leading up to the shooting.
That's her story. And we'll never know because she didn't have her dash cam activated on her police vehicle, and she didn't have a body cam on her. So she could spin any story that she wants at this point.
Has Officer Shelby reached out to the victim's family, either directly or through a third party, to offer condolences?
You know, she has shared with me that she feels horrible. This is a tragedy in light of the fact that afterward no gun was discovered. She has been praying for the Crutcher family, and you know, she knows a family lost a loved one.
As you know, a number of the folks who have been protesting there have been calling for your client to be fired. Any idea whether she might step aside or ask to be reassigned?
Well, you know, she's not even reporting for duty at this point while the investigation's going on. You know, we have to wait, be patient. You know, the district attorney is going to have more facts than I have, more facts than anyone has when he sits down and goes through this file after it's completed and makes his decision about whether or not this shooting was, if there was any criminal aspect to this shooting.
Scott Wood, attorney for Tulsa police officer Betty Shelby. Mr. Wood, thank you.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate you having me.
All right, so do you know what the common thread between these two murders is? The possibility of a gun being present. In North Carolina, okay, which is an open carry state, to say that there was a gun there without seeing a gun is a 50-50 proposition, okay? Because it's an open carry state and a lot of people have guns. You have the same situation in Oklahoma and in Texas. You could, without seeing a gun, you could say that there was a gun present. And it's a 50-50, and in Texas probably higher than 50-50 proposition that inside of a car, a person will have a gun. In the case of North Carolina, and I am going to base this statement on reports that the police say they found a gun, though we really need to trace, whatever the gun is, we need to trace the history of that gun to see where that gun came from, if he purchased it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or if it was a quote-unquote stolen gun. We need to get the full history of that gun. Okay, but they flipped a coin on that one, and there was a gun. In Oklahoma, they flipped a coin on that one, and there wasn't a gun. So her line of dropping his hands and patting his side, making it appear that he was armed and had a gun, since he didn't have one, that theory goes out the damn window. Okay? The theory of him going to the car and reaching inside the car, well, we already know that's bullshit. Okay? But even if the window was down, there was no gun there. So everything that they're saying, every spin that they're trying to attempt is just not working. She shot that man, okay, without justification. Hell, one of my viewers said that they didn't have any justification to tase him because he obviously he wasn't a criminal, he hadn't committed a crime, he wasn't doing anything wrong. And I tend to want to go along with that reasoning. And for him to be walking back to his vehicle with his hands in the air, okay, with his back to them, oh, hell no, hell no.